Welcome back. I'm Kori Hale here, and Scott Zakheim from Landmark Ventures is joining us once again. This time, we are going to be talking all about who is winning the sports media race. Hey, Scott.
Hey, Kori, thanks for having me on again. Nice to be here.
Yeah, well, I'm happy that you're here, and I know that you're a big sports fan outside of your normal, shall we say, 9 to 5. You found a way kind of to weave in sports to your 9 to 5 at Landmark.
We've put a lot of effort into building out our sports Rolodex over the last 5+ years. We have a few flagship sports events that we run. We do a big sports tech dinner at CES. We do one at South by. We traditionally do a big sports tech event in New York every summer. And now, thankfully, that has manifested into more business. We do a lot of work on the investment banking side of our business around sports tech. And so, yeah, it's been fun to see the sports network within Landmark blossom and turn into some business over the last few years.
Yeah, no, that's really great. Well, we've all, myself as a dedicated sports fan, but only to like specific sports, have all been going through a lull over the past 2 months or so. But which sport specifically, in your opinion, is really set up to have the best kind of media comeback when we move past where we're at?
Well, I mean, I feel like the NFL rules and will continue to rule, and they almost got lucky in the timing of all this. Whether or not their fans in the stadium come fall, I feel like they've had enough time to prepare for a season. And if I know the NFL and what they do, they will make sure that a season goes off in early September. So from a seasonal perspective, I think they got lucky, and they'll have they have the brain power. They have really smart people there, and they'll figure out a way to run a season starting in the fall. They're also lucky enough to have the NFL draft, which is slated for Thursday night. And so for a sports world, a sports universe that's clamoring for some kind of live event, they'll be the first to feature a primetime live event. And I think ESPN, the NFL Network, they're expecting a ratings bonanza. So yeah, the NFL probably takes the cake. Candidly, one of these leagues has to step forward and announce when they're back. I know that they'll take some heat for it because unfortunately people are out there that are still in hospital, still in really bad shape. Folks are dying. And so to go ahead and make a pronouncement about when a sports league is going to come back might appear as insensitive, but ultimately once that first league steps forward and says, hey, we're going to come back, this is the way we're going to do it, I think they'll all follow suit.
Well, I know on a previous episode, we kind of talked about where companies were putting their ad dollars, their brand dollars. When you think about sports that are live sports that are traditionally played in these large arenas, I mean, they do make a fair amount of money off of ticket sales. And ticket sales aside, right, because you're probably not going to be able to pack 30,000 people, right, into a stadium anymore. Are there enough advertising dollars, do you think, maybe to sort of circumvent that? Because this is a multi-billion-dollar industry just for the NFL.
Yeah, I think there's no question about it. I think these owners realize that they'll be okay. I don't know what the breakdown is per league. I think the NFL is something around 75-25 in terms of TV dollars versus dollars at the gate. But you have to consider concessions and parking. But ultimately, all the money in sports in the last 10 years and going forward is being driven by TV. It's all about the TV contracts. That's where the money really is. That's how the players get paid. That's how the owners get paid. So if you can get live events back on TV, they'll be just fine. There's also a vacuum that's been created. Billions of dollars globally were going to be allocated against Olympics advertising, and so the Olympics are no longer happening. And so again, if you can be a sport that can get back on TV this summer and maybe grab some of those dollars that were going to be allocated towards the Olympics, you're going to be okay. I mean, the PGA Tour is slated to start some point in mid-June. I know golf is not does not have the national fervor that the NFL does, but Tiger Woods certainly gets butts in the seats, and if he can be healthy this summer and the tour can be on every weekend, that will also be just a ratings bonanza, and the ad dollars will flow into the tour very well. So I hope they can pull it off.
I know you mentioned if, a sport can really figure out how to get butts in the seat, how to get people watching. One sport that comes to mind, albeit some people may argue whether or not it's a real sport, is eSports, because they are essentially kind of set up for this type of environment. Granted, they had started moving in the past 2 to 5 years into more
Yep.
live events and that sort of situation. Technically, you don't really need to be doing a live event, right, to get people
Sure.
an audience for eSports.
Well, the irony is, I mean, it's you just said it. Esports has over the last few years become live event driven, which, you know, ironically, it's all based in virtual. You're watching video game players play video games, and you're doing it from your living room, and so you don't need to be in an arena. But all these major esports events were going live, so you could pack 30,000 people into an arena to watch someone play video games. So it was going that direction. But yeah, I mean, the esports industry, Twitch, all the leagues that sponsor esports teams, they're all, you know, trying to milk the market. I think that you've seen every major sports league put together esports competitions. The eyeballs are there. Kids are at home. They're on Twitch. They're watching their favorite gamers play. It's nothing that I can relate to. I've never been passionate about esports. I know there's a ton of money there, and I know that viewers are there, and I know that kids love watching their favorite esports players go, and so they're benefiting nicely from that. But it certainly doesn't replace the 4 major leagues and the fact that they're not on TV right now.
Yeah, it does make it especially difficult. When you think about media coverage, though, beyond the traditional broadcast, there are a lot of niche sports media brands out there, right, that are definitely looking to take a larger share of the market, not just right now, but going into the future. What is it that they need to do to really differentiate themselves? And the way that we kind of talked about in a previous episode, Zoom kind of did.
It's all about content, right? It's a content grab right now. If you can put together smart, engaging content, you win the day. And if you're good enough to put together content that captures the audience, and it resonates, then perhaps you take some of that audience and you carry it with you in a post-COVID world. You know, on social media, you have brands that establish themselves there with thought-provoking, innovative content. Brands like Bleacher Report, who just, you know, grew like crazy on channels like Twitter and established themselves. They're eventually purchased by Turner. You have other media players out there that can do the same thing, that can put out smart, innovative content, documentaries, what have you, and use this moment to establish their brand for going forward. Ultimately, your bigger players are the ones winning right now, right? Netflix won with The Tiger King, not a sports documentary, but again, captivating content that got consumers talking. And ESPN, smartly enough, bumped up their Michael Jordan documentary, and they had a massive premiere on Sunday night. They have 8 episodes left. And so from a sports perspective, everyone wants to tune into ESPN on Sunday night to see the Michael Jordan documentary. So they're kind of winning. But if you do have smart, innovative content, if you do have a good story to tell, you better get out there and tell it right now if you want to establish yourself for going forward.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think there are a lot of brands that see this as an opening to kind of take on the incumbents in this space. So the ESPN of the world, the Fox Sports, all of those sort of places. And perhaps there is enough space for all of them to coexist on a much larger scale. But I'm pretty sure a lot of those networks will want to not do things too much differently, because they were already kind of hemorrhaging money as it was. They were already hemorrhaging money.
Yeah, again, I think it goes back to who puts the best content out there. At the end of the day, there's so many channels, and we're all getting very used to hunting for that good content and finding it. And if you can create sticky content, establish your brand, you'll have success, you know, in a post-COVID world.
Can we just go back to something you said at the top when you were talking about the sports Rolodex that you all have been able to build up there at Landmark Ventures with different events at CES and at South by Southwest? When you bring sort of that sports world into what you all do at Landmark Ventures, what is kind of the magic that happens in that space?
It's all about curation. We call ourselves deal makers. We brand ourselves as deal makers. Sounds kind of corny, but it's true. If you can curate a really good group of people, no matter the functional area, no matter the vertical, whether it's digital marketing, media, IT, or sports media, entertainment, if you get a curated group together, synergies will take place. At our dinners at CES and South by, deals have gotten done at our sports tech dinners. We've gotten together emerging tech with publishers, with advertisers, with leagues, with teams. You get all those groups together. You get a sprinkling of different stakeholders. And if they're looking to network, if they're looking to do deals, we give them the platform and it gets done. So it's all about that event curation, and our events team has done a really nice job handpicking the folks we want to be in the room, getting them together and seeing something blossom.
Oh, perfect. All right, before I let you go, final quick 3 questions, which go like this. What is the sport you cannot wait to come back? What is the team? It doesn't have to be in the same sport. And who is the player that you're just dying to see when they come back?
Yeah, well, I need the NFL. I mean, I'm a massive sports fan, but I'm okay so far. But I think if the NFL got delayed, I'd have a really hard time. The team is the Washington Capitals in hockey. I'm a huge hockey fan, and the Caps were slated for a pretty long run in this year's Stanley Cup playoffs. So I pray that the NHL can get it together and put together a postseason tournament so someone can lift the cup, and I hope it's the Caps and their captain, Alex Ovechkin. And then from a personality or player perspective, it's got to be Tiger. Tiger's healthy again. He gave an interview last week to CBS saying that he was ready to go if the Masters took place. And Tiger brings ratings, and there's going to be 3 majors on TV starting in August. If he can be healthy and he can contend, it will be so much fun to watch.
All right. Well, see, you covered pretty much all the sports. You left off baseball, at least of the major sports, but
yeah, that's true. I'm an Orioles fan, and they were slated to win about 40 games this year, so there's not much worth talking about there.
All right. I was going to say you left off basketball too, which is my favorite sport, but you did mention the Michael Jordan documentary, which will be
That's true.
in the next several weeks. So that's okay. We got that in.
Yep. We covered it all. Thanks, Kori.
Perfect.
Appreciate it.